Mark 11:24, when you pray, so you've spoken, right? Believe that you have received it, and you will receive it. It's not, and you might receive it. No, you will. Why? Because you believe and you spoke. Don't allow doubt, don't allow sin consciousness, don't allow anything else to come your way. Don't allow any lie of the devil to come your way. And say, you know what, it's because you did this and did this and did this, you know, and all that stuff like that. That's why I am. That's what you're going through now. No, stop thinking that way. That's not for us anymore. We are not put it this way, God's blessing is no longer dependent on your morality or your good behavior. It's only dependent on you receiving through your believing and speaking. That's how simple it is. Let's not make it difficult. And you know what? This is how we partake of Christ's blood. It's not just about drinking a little cup of juice or wine. This is how we partake of His blood. Now, I need to get to the next point because everything's going to tie up, okay? So let me do this quickly. Watch this. Second thing I want to share with you is communion is God's delivery system of His blessings. Okay? When you think that something seems to be coming slow, your healing, your breakthrough, your deliverance, take communion. Take it as often as you want. Every day, twice a day, 3 times a day, it's up to you. Every so often in a day, it's up to you. You can't overdose on communion. See, I mean, how can you overdose on bread and juice? Right? You can't overdose on bread and juice. But it's what it represents. Communion is God's delivery system. Now look at this. When the law was given, as I mentioned earlier, it was ratified by blood. Watch, huh? Exodus 24, 8-11. And Moses took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, and said, "This is the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you according to all these words." Sounds like the New Testament, right? This is the blood of the covenant. But He didn't put new. This is the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you according to all these words. What words? The law. He's talking about the law. According to the law that was given to you, I sprinkle you now with blood to ratify that covenant. Then Moses went up, also Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw the God of Israel. They went up to the mountain, 74 of them, 70 elders plus Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and Moses, 74 of them. By the way, I'm going to be trying to pronounce the names in the Hebrew more and more. Okay? We call them Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, but that's so American. I'm trying to learn how to pronounce it the Hebrew way, okay? For me and for you, because, you know, Abihu means God is my father. Abba, Yahu, Yahweh, is the same thing. God is my father, and so on and so forth. So it's nicer when we say it that way. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under His feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone, and it was like the very heavens in its clarity. Can you imagine? Sapphire stone, so clear, it's like heaven. And now look at this. But on the nobles, that's the elders, of the children of Israel, He did not lay His hand. Now, some people think that He did not lay hands on them, as though to anoint them. To lay His hand means He did not kill them. Why? They saw God. The Bible says, you see God, you die. They saw God, but He did not kill them, so they saw God, and look at this, they ate and drank. That's communion. Why? It's a covenant meal. It's a covenant meal. Understand that when covenants are made, there's food. It's not just blood, there's food. When you make a covenant, there will always be bread and wine. You look. When you businessmen, you probably will notice that more business deals are closed during lunch or dinner. than when you're in the office. Diba? Businessmen, diba? BJ? That's why we take them out. Why? Because we want to close a deal. We want this covenant or contract, as we call it, to be consummated. We want there to be a business partnership, a business deal. So what do? Feed them. What? Because God meant, among other things, for food to be a means for covenant to be ratified. And that's why the blood, the juice, okay, you have it there, the blood. And so they ate and they drank. A covenant is always inaugurated with a meal. Now look, Isaac, for example. Isaac was a covenant man. Okay, I mean, he was the son of Abraham. Abraham had a covenant with God. And so he taught that to his son, Isaac. Now, Isaac, at some point, in Genesis 26, for example, you're going to see a story there where there was a famine in the land. And he was going to go to Egypt. Of course, Egypt represents the world. So he was going to now do something worldly. Do something the way everybody else does. When there's a famine, whether it's a financial famine, an agricultural famine, whatever. Let's do it the way the world does. He was going to go to Egypt. And God said, stay in the land I will show you, and I will bless you there. See, God says, don't do it the world's way. You do it my way, I'm going to bless you. You do it the world's way, well, I'll still be with you. But you're going to hinder the blessing because you're doing it the world's way. You're coming under a curse, so to speak. Not that you will be cursed, but you're coming under a cursed system. The world system is cursed. It's cursed. That's why God says, do it my way. I am the way. No one goes to the Father except by me. Well, I am the way. I am the truth. Outside of Him, there is no truth. So all these financial experts, look at what they got us into. See? It's all these financial experts that even they don't understand what's happening anymore. They don't know what to do. We know. We have the tithe. We have the offering. We have the bread. And we have the wine. And that's all we need. Between the tithe, the offering, the bread, and the wine, you're on your way to financial prosperity. You don't need anything else. Now, look at this. Isaac was a covenant man. He inherited that from his father. He learned the ways of his father. There was a drought in the land, and he was going to Egypt, and God said, don't go there, I'll bless you here. So in that same year, the Bible says, he sowed. He went planting. He sowed. Now, you don't sow in a time of famine, but he did. And the Bible says that God blessed him 100-fold. Now, think about this. The Bible does not lie. God blessed him 100-fold. Any farmers here? Anyone know how many kavans of bigas you can get from 1 hectare of land? About 80, right? 80. If it's a pretty good land, you'll get about 80. If you get 100, that's very good. Let's say 80. After milling, let's say it's about 50. Let's say 50 kavans na lang. God blessed it 100-fold. What's 50 times 100? You need to take out your calculator. Just add 2 zeros to the 50. What's that? 5,000 kavans per hectare. Per hectare. Impossible. That's why it's not happening to you. Because we're not thinking like God. See? We're not thinking like God. We need to start thinking like God. Nothing is impossible with God. Now the thing is, Isaac became so rich, he was so rich, that the Bible says that his enemies, the Philistines, envied him. They envied him so much that they wanted him to leave the place. So he left. He didn't fight them, he left. He reached a certain place and he started to dig some wells for his livestock and everything. He started to dig some wells. The people now of that land said, you know what? This is our well. We dug it. Of course, they were lying. They were lying. Isaac and his men were the ones that dug that well. But they said, no, this is our well. So he says, okay, fine, it's your well. And he left. And he went to another place and he dug some more wells.